Lord, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to make the following proclamation. Whereas Collingwood is a vibrant community envied by many, rich in spirit, heritage, and culture, a place where many wish they could live, work, and play. And whereas Collingwood has a robust number of volunteers giving of their time for the betterment of our town, volunteerism is the reason we are here today. Let it be known that for their service to our community, the town of Collingwood presents to Eleanor Burke, David Hearn, Larry Law, Fiona Mcgaw, and Marg Shibanidi, and that for their continued service, the town of Collingwood confers the title Companion to the Order of Collingwood to Carolyn Wilson and Sylvia Wilson. Congratulations to our recipients. In this year of many challenges, remember, none of us is as strong as all of us. Long live the Queen.
For the acknowledgement of our traditional lands, I am very privileged today to say that we acknowledge that this event is taking place on the traditional territory of the Indigenous peoples of Turtle Island, including the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Ojibwe peoples, and on lands connected with the Lake Simcoe-Nottawasaga Treaty of 1818. This is the home of a diverse range of Indigenous peoples whom we recognize as contemporary stewards of the land and vital contributors to our society.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests, to the 2021 Mayor's New Year's Levee. Thank you for taking time on this snowy afternoon to join Council and I to welcome the new year and to celebrate the induction of the 2020 recipients of the Order of Collingwood and the Companion of the Order. It has been a challenging year, and the pandemic has impacted us all in so many ways. It has changed how we conduct our daily lives and business, and it has changed this year's New Year's Levee to a virtual event. While we end 2020 under a province-wide shutdown for the second time this year, we do so with a sense of optimism that 2021 will be the year that we beat COVID. This has been a year that has tested our resiliency and our community. Town staff have a motto, which is, none of us is as strong as all of us. Collingwood is a strong and compassionate community, and volunteerism is the backbone of so many of our social, cultural, and recreational programs. Our community is so strong because of our volunteers and their capacity to work together to improve our community. This year's recipients truly represent the qualities that make our community so strong. They put service above self, and they make it their mission to make Collingwood a better community each day. While we are here to celebrate this year's recipients, we are also here to acknowledge and celebrate the incredible network of volunteers in our community who work tirelessly, and in most parts, anonymously, to help others in so many ways. So thank you to the countless volunteers in our community who make Collingwood the powerful, resilient, and compassionate community that we are.
love in all of us command. Quand ton bras c'est porter le pays, il s'est porté la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée, tes plus brillants exploits. God keep our land, glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
I bring greetings on behalf of the faith community to Mayor Saunderson, Deputy Mayor Keith Hall, councillors, staff members, and friends of Collingwood. As a faith community, we have recognized the protection God has provided over our community this past year as we have faced a global pandemic. We also recognize we live in a generous community and have seen many acts of kindness through you. At this time last year, I shared a prayer that included these words: "When the days are uncertain, assure us of your loving care." How little did we know the depth to which these words would be needed as we went about our daily tasks and decision making. We have more uncertain days ahead of us, but we can be assured God is with us. Hear these encouraging words from Psalm 91, 9-11. "Because you have made the Lord, who is my refuge, even the Most High, your dwelling place, no evil shall befall you, nor shall any plague come near your dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over you." Let us pray. Oh, gracious God, we thank you for the love and care you gave to our community this past year. We come to you today and ask for your protection over our leaders and people as we enter a new year, 2021. Provide the wisdom and patience needed for Mayor Saunderson and our leaders as they make careful decisions to protect our community. Protect our healthcare workers who tirelessly give of their time to provide the medical care we need. We thank you for all our civic leaders, including teachers and support staff who serve our children and youth at this time. Be with our first responders who sacrifice their safety for ours, and with our military as they stand ready to serve, including distributing the vaccine. Help us to walk in unity, and for each of us to care for those who are suffering in our community. Help us to respond with compassion and lend a hand when we see a person in need. Gracious God, hear our prayer. Amen.
Mayor Saunderson, Deputy Mayor Hall, members of council and staff, honorees, guests, friends, families, and all who identify as members of the greater Collingwood community. It is a privilege to be joining you all, virtually, as your newly appointed Poet Laureate in the beginning of my 2-year term. My name is Claudia, and today I want to share a poem that I wrote specifically for this occasion, with the important theme of "None of us is as strong as all of us" in mind. It's titled "Sharing in Solitude." Last night, I made pasta for 20 and played musical chairs around my dinner table. I was the chef and the host and all of the guests, and I toasted my own survival. I toasted the way my body has grown to take up my entire kitchen, the way my words respond to themselves in silent conversation, and how my pores, like my screens, have opened up in acts of preservation. Last night, I found myself asking the branches of trees to become arms, to reach out, to grab me and tell me that solitude isn't always harmful, to remind me that its trunk and its leaves needed space and rest to grow, while underground its roots are stretching, talking, building in a place unknown, eating with others, and gaining the courage to be on this surface, all alone. Company can mean many things, but to me, right now, it means an entity, like how it can be 100 or a single one, but it's always quality over quantity. Take Christmas, for example, and the way Santa Claus comes all by himself, as if, in order to shimmy down our chimneys, it didn't take an entire crew of elves. Quiet, invisible helpers are the backbone to his big belly, and many small hands, doing many small things, make solitude a little less heavy. Strength in numbers, stronger together, like how two people in love can be a shelter, like how many people can be a team in which the eye is no longer seen, like bodies fusing together to build a bridge, our bones melting to ensure safe passage, our minds meeting to learn a new language, our lips spilling love like it's our greatest privilege. Dropped off food and FaceTime calls are our modern nourishment. Because silence can feel like hunger, and loneliness isn't always absence, but a wave that pulls you under, asks you to swim alone, asks you to build a home, like it's made out of two hands and not the way that they roam for others to hold, a universal lost limb syndrome. For our medicine, I prescribe opening a window, even if it's cold. Gather yourself in a blanket so heavy it traps your feet in the folds, and let the cold touch only your nose. Breathe in the winds of the cosmos, just so you know it's still there, just so you taste someplace else's air, just so you know there is something that we still all share. Thank you.
Ani bonjour, everyone. Welcome to a great annual event known as the Mayor's Levee, where we get to celebrate the hard work and the volunteerism that all of you share with your greater community here in the town of Collingwood. My name is James Carpenter, and I've been asked to share with you a few words about the events and the celebrations that we'll be celebrating with you this year virtually. My spirit name is Wabanakawit, and what that translates to in the Anishinaabe-Moan language is Gray Cloud. And I sit with two clans that are part of this territory here, where the town of Collingwood resides. The clans I sit with are the Bear and the Crane. And these two clans are part of that family of what you all sharing. You know, often in our teachings, we remember the traditional lands that all of us are sharing. Of course, these lands in this territory are commonly known as some of the traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, of the Chippewa, of the Algonquin, of the Odawa, Potawatomi, and of course, for the lands around the town of Collingwood, the people who are called the Bitan people. So I raise this feather to them and to yourselves as we acknowledge the traditional territories where these ceremonies will begin and where these ceremonies will be honoring who you are. I'd like to say miigwech to each and every one of you. You have been an instrumental part in the creation of valuable gifts to your greater community here around the town. In our language, in Anishinaabe-Moan language, we have a name that we call all of you. We call you true Oshkabewas. And what that means is that you are a true helper. You've taken that time, and your families and your communities have taken that time to prepare what we call gifts. Gifts that you give from right in here, right in the center of your spirit, the center of your being. You give that gift to your greater community of love, of compassion, of gratitude, and most importantly, of your kindness. we really do say chi miigwech to all of your spirits for all that wonderful gift that you share with everyone. And remember, everyone, to me, you're all Strabelis, doing that good work to help our community so that they can be healthy, happy, and feel very balanced. I know all of us have been impacted by this year and what's been going on in the world, but at the same time, it's brought back to our hearts and our minds that good work about how we care about our family, our community, and the general world. So I say miigwech to everyone, and what miigwech means, it means a gift from inside here. I'm trying to share with you that gift that you've been sharing with your community all year round. I also say chi miigwech to the town of Collingwood and the acknowledgement that all of you will be receiving for that very, very much needed work. So I say thank you, chi miigwech. Yous are amazing, beautiful people. And the hours and the time that you put in to helping, it's very, very valuable. And it is much and much appreciated. So I raise this feather to all of yous. You follow in that path towards that great spirit, to that kindness, compassion, that balance, that wellness. And you share that with all of your community in that circle. So with that, miigwech, a gift from all of us, saying thank you for your much appreciated hard work. Miigwech.
Thank you. I'm very, very pleased to be speaking with you today. Anyone who lives here knows that Collingwood is something special. And I believe 100% in our vision, which is that people thrive here, and you can live more now when you live in Collingwood. This town is about inclusion and collaboration, about people living their best lives in a place that encourages it. This means that on top of our beautiful landscape, water, and heritage, we do all that we can at the town to enhance active transportation, green and clean approaches, and access to arts, culinary, and culture options. As the head of the staff, I'd like to reflect on being a civil servant, and one in Collingwood. We are your neighbors and friends, and many of us have lived in Collingwood all our lives, while others like me have decided to spend our lives here because it is such a special place. We have so many people who are dedicated to this town and who are also experts in their field and go farther because they love this place. And they know every inch. When one of you calls us, there is somebody who knows exactly the place that you're concerned about and will listen and go the extra mile to support the people in our town. I would not be so foolish as to suggest that there's no bureaucracy. However, here in Collingwood, we are truly empowering people to make decisions quickly, like we did throughout the COVID pandemic. We want everyone to be heard in our decision-making. Please watch for engaged Collingwood opportunities to provide your thoughts. In addition to our expertise, we use these to develop the recommendations for council, and it is their decisions that ultimately shape our community. There's big and exciting progress coming in 2021. The allocation of your asset sale proceeds, the outcome of proposals for the grain terminals, a new official plan that will guide development, a lot more information on our long-term tax needs, and another worldwide conference about town-level sustainability leadership in concert with the United Nations. This will be my first full year as Chief Administrative Officer, and I look forward to meeting many more people and to celebrating with you again 1 year from today. Happy New Year.
It's a pleasure to present this award to Eleanor, who for over 25 years has dedicated so much of her time and talent to the betterment of our community. Learning about Eleanor, it would seem there's almost no part of our town she hasn't shared her creative talent or volunteered her time to. There's the BIA, the Lawn Bowling Club, Leisure Time Club, Nottawasaga Lighthouse Preservation Society, and the Gaslight Community Theater. Eleanor is clearly an incredibly gifted creative. When I spoke with her by phone, I said I'd be interested in reading one of her plays, to which she replied, "Which one?" I also asked Eleanor if she'd ever attended the Mayor's Levee, to which her answer was yes, 1 year as a volunteer at the dessert table. Well, Eleanor, I hope this year is a much sweeter experience for you. As in previous years, I shared with my daughter the information about all the recipients, and together we worked to find a Bible reading that spoke to their goodwill. This year we selected from Matthew. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds.
Thank you to all our wonderful recipients for shining and sharing your light where it's needed most. Thank you.
I would like to join Councillor Comey in recognizing and congratulating Eleanor Burke on her successful nomination to the Order of Collingwood. Like many before her and many since, she was drawn to make Collingwood her home upon retirement, and we have been so fortunate that she did. For over 25 years now, she has been an important part of the fabric of life in Collingwood. An accomplished artist, she is not only an award-winning carver of using wood, but she shares her talents teaching others this skill at the Leisure Time Centre. A creative writer, she has had her plays chosen 5 times by the Gaslight Community Theatre Productions. A designer, she was one of only a few artists whose work was chosen for their design for bike racks at Millennium Park. A true creative and a true volunteer. All of those who nominated Eleanor for this honor mentioned her volunteer activities and her enthusiasm that is added to the quality of life in our community. And many acknowledged her fundraising efforts for the Nottawasaga Lighthouse Preservation Society. Thank you so much, Eleanor Burke. Again, congratulations.
When I was selected to be honored with this prestigious award, I felt delighted and humbled. I'm riding on the crest of a wave of support from many caring friends and neighbors. No one earns respect and regard alone. When I was here, my cousin told me everyone owes something. When I was older, my mother told me he was a tax collector. I did not fully understand the concept of giving until I entered the education profession in 1960. It was the children who taught me giving one gains immeasurably. In retirement, I have enjoyed the challenges of creating public artworks, service, fundraising for restoration of our lighthouse, and writing plays for the Gaslight Tour. Giving back to strengthen this vibrant community has been a privilege and a delight. Thank you. And, you know, everyone does owe something.
Well, I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord, but you don't really care for music, do you? Well, it goes like this, the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall and the major lifts. The baffled king composes hallelujah, hallelujah, and hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
It is my honor to present David Hearn with the Order of Collingwood for 2020. Over the past decade, I have had the pleasure of getting to know Dave and his family on a personal level. Dave and his lovely wife have been married for 35 years. Although neither are originally from here, Anita did attend high school in Meaford at Georgian Bay Secondary School. Dave and his lovely wife are the proud parents of two sons, Ryan, who is 21, and Thomas, who is 17. Ryan is pursuing a career in aviation and is a licensed pilot, and Thomas has a passion for computers and engineering. Both are fine gentlemen. Dave is originally from Kitchener-Waterloo, with stops in London and Toronto, and his professional career has taken him overseas with stops in Hong Kong, Singapore, and Shanghai. In 2003, while living in Hong Kong, their youngest son Thomas was born during a typhoon. At the same time, they lived through SARS, very close to the epicenter of the global virus. At that time, Dave and Anita made the decision that they wanted to move back to Canada to raise their young sons. In 2004, they purchased their current home in Collingwood. However, it wasn't until 2008 that Anita and the boys could make the move north, and 2010 before Dave could join them on a full-time basis. In an effort to get to know people within his new community, Dave first joined the Rotary Club of South Georgian Bay. In late 2013, Dave joined the local Optimist Club and today serves as the club's vice president. Dave, along with his fellow club members, have hosted many successful events, including the Mother of All Yard Sales, the Rubber Ducky Race, Youth Appreciation Awards, and post-COVID-19, I look forward to once again flipping pancakes with Dave out front of Town Hall. In addition to Rotary and Optimist, Dave has been a volunteer board member with Collingwood Minor Hockey Association, first as board secretary and then president of the association. With the return of junior hockey to Collingwood, Dave was quick to get involved both as a founding season ticket holder and member of the board of directors. For the 2020-2021 season, Dave is the board's secretary. As I mentioned earlier, Dave and his family lived in Hong Kong in 2003, both during a typhoon and SARS. These experiences gave Dave an appreciation of what challenges Collingwood would potentially face during the early months of COVID-19. When called upon by Mayor Saunderson and the COVID-19 task force, the Optimist Club, with Dave taking a leading role, were charged with the responsibility of sourcing out and distributing PPE throughout the community. In the early days of the pandemic, these supplies were in high demand and very short supply. Yet Dave and the Optimist Club were successful in procuring these resources and assuring that they were distributed community-wide to those on the front lines. We are appreciative of the efforts of both Dave and the Optimist Club in sourcing out and distributing these much-needed supplies. On behalf of Mayor Saunderson, members of council and town staff, and the residents of Collingwood, congratulations on being named to the Order of Collingwood.
Deputy Mayor Hall, thank you very much for those kind words. And I've enjoyed working with you and your sons for the hockey for the last 10 years. I am truly honored and actually very humbled to receive this recognition. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to my wife, Anita, and boys for their time and patience and love and support with this exercise. But I'd also like to thank Foster and for his nomination of this award, but also thank Michael, Chris, and Terry for their kind support. We moved to Collingwood, as Deputy Mayor Hall said, many years ago, and it's been a very enriching experience for us, and our lives are much better for it, and we have lifelong friends here. When you get to work with different associations like the Optimist, the Rotary, Collingwood Minor Hockey, and the Collingwood Blues organization, and last year with the challenging times of PPE situation, and the town staff has been extremely great. And by dealing with all those people, it makes it so much easier for us to give back to the community. Now that we're in 2021, I'm really happy that we're in the new year, and I'm hoping that with everything and being safe and prudent and following the rules, that in the summertime we'll be able to get back into Mother of all yard sales, the taste of the town for Rotary, all the Canada Day festivities, and getting the fans back at Eddie Bush and watch the Blues play again. So I'm truly humbled by this recognition, and I do want to say thank you very much and stay well.
First thing we climb a tree, and maybe then we talk, or sit silently and listen to our thoughts. Illusions of someday, cast in the golden light. No dress rehearsal, this is our life. And that's where the hornet stung me, and I had a feverish dream full of angst and doubt. Tonight we smoke them out. You are hit by century. You are hit by century. You are hit by century. And disappointing you's getting me down.
Today, I have the honor of awarding Mr. Larry Law with the Order of Collingwood. Even though, Mr. Law, it's being done virtually, I want you to know that my admiration for you is quite real. We can sit here all day and talk about all the great things that Larry has done, but some of them that I really want people to know about are the following. The way he builds a very fun, caring, and loving community, working with his staff and the staff of Collingwood to make this place a better place to live, work, and play. His mission is to strive to build a model community that follows compassion and loving hearts. And businesses altogether can equal success and profit. The compassionate funds for staff that fall on hard times are an inspiration that Larry does, and his constant donations to the library, the hospital, and the college. And with some of his profits, he gives to multiple charities all around the world, not just here in Collingwood. Larry said something to me once years ago, and it stuck with me, and I believe it's his motto. In the absence of action and response, words and visions are meaningless. From the bottom of my heart and from my family to yours, Mr. Law, I thank you for what you've done. Please keep up the good work, and welcome to the Order of Collingwood.
Hi, Larry. For me, you will always be synonymous with the Bear Estate, where my wife and I were married just over 18 years ago. Congratulations on winning the Order of Collingwood this year, and thank you for all you do and will continue to do for our community.
Thank you everyone for allowing me to be on the stage now. By God's grace, I'm very humble and honored to receive the award. In fact, this award should go to all my staff and my family members especially my dear wife, Maria. Without them, we could not have done all the good deeds in Collingwood in the last 28 years and beyond. We are grateful to be able and willing to take our business, beyond making a living. We take business as a mission to serve with our loving heart. Collingwood is a beautiful town with many, many loving and charitable people. We have a vision. We hope that together with many like-minded people, we can help building Collingwood to be a model town, a town that the people living here are more loving and kind and less self-centered, but for a bigger we in harmony. We also hope that this kind of loving community living can inspire other towns and cities to follow. A little bit of our goodwill to make the world a better place to be, and we call it love in actions. Thank you very much.
I am delighted today to introduce you to Fiona Mcgaw. She is a most worthy recipient of the Order of Collingwood for her relentless activity in town as a volunteer. Fiona told me it's fun to be busy and being helpful to others is good for your mental health. And if those things are true, then she is one of the most fun and mentally stable people that you're ever going to meet. Fiona moved to Collingwood in 2007 and has been putting her long career as an activation and occupational therapist to good use ever since. She started up a program for people with arthritis, helping them retain and maybe even improve their mobility. She leads exercise programs at retirement homes, and she teaches people how to knit, not only at the library and the YMCA, but also pretty much anybody she can get to sit still long enough to learn. Fiona makes sure that her fellow seniors get out for walks and other mild forms of exercise. She's part of a church-led group that visits seniors where they live, so no one feels left behind. In her spare time, she might weed a neighbor's garden if it needs it, or she might make a meal for a neighbor in need, or make and mail a card to someone who might be lonely. She also spends time on the trails here in town and on the Bruce Trail. She remains a member of the Bruce Trail Society. Volunteers like Fiona are the spine of a community, and it's clear from talking with her that she has backbone to spare. Even in her 80s, even after a long career, and even after raising 3 children, she still wants to give back to her community. I'm glad I got to meet you on the telephone this week, Fiona, and I'm grateful you live here. Thank you for what you do, and congratulations on this well-deserved honor.
Marian, thank you for those kind words, and thank you Your Worship, the Mayor and Council for giving me this Order of Collingwood. It has been a real blessing in retirement to move from Toronto up here and feel so welcomed in the community. I'm really following in my parents' footsteps, who did this about 40 years ago, moving up to Collingwood. Yes, in my life, I was a physio and occupational therapist and moved about and did jobs in lots of different places. But my last 10 years was with the Arthritis Society. So when I moved up to Collingwood, I thought it was logical that I start volunteering in the arthritis self-management program, which I ran upstairs at Loblaws. The manager gave me the cooking room for the number of periods that I needed, and I did it for about 5 years. I have enjoyed keeping other people active. We all know that a strong body helps people live well. So I volunteered at a VON exercise program, and I've also volunteered at the Y, which is such a wonderful place that is so inclusive. There was a program called Together in Movement and Exercise, and that was just a great place for me to be, to meet people and to help seniors keep active and improve their function. As a member of First Pres Church, there are so many opportunities to volunteer, reaching out, even in the COVID times. That didn't stop them having community dinners, and a team of people went out and delivered the meals. And the Christmas parcels still went out, and the knitting, the mitts and the hats went into the baskets too. So I would certainly recommend volunteering to keep yourself young and vital and active. And find my website, Find My Spirit, is a wonderful place because you can either use the talents that you used in your work life, or you can develop new talents. So keep volunteering and keep making Collingwood the perfect place to live in retirement and anytime. Thank you so much.
Rock me gently, rock me slowly, take it easy, and don't you know that I have never been loved like this before. Baby, baby, rock me gently, rock me slowly, take it easy, and don't you know that I have never been loved like this before. I have never been loved like this before. I have never been loved like this before.
Mayor Saunderson, council colleagues, honored award recipients, and Collingwood residents. During such an unprecedented time, at least for my generation and younger, this very special event, ringing in the new year, gives us time to pause and celebrate the extraordinary volunteers in our community. Volunteers who continue, even through a pandemic, to look after their fellow residents in so many ways, and often put those priorities ahead of their own needs. Congratulations to all. It is my pleasure to join Councillor Doherty in honoring and presenting virtually to our next Order of Collingwood recipient, Marg Shibanidi. Marg is a determined, passionate, and caring individual whose volunteer investments have touched our homeless and our hungry. Marg has also been an engaging and significant contributor to the well-being of our town as a visionary through her work on Vision 2020. Additionally, Marg has enhanced the arts and culture fabric of Collingwood through the major Wordstock event. This was a committee that I worked on with Marg, and I was able to see firsthand her appreciation for the arts, her leadership skills, and her thoughtfulness to leave the project in the best possible condition for future Wordstock events. In every aspect, Marg is always willing to be a mentor, truly a builder of our community. My warmest congratulations, Marg.
My good friend, it's always an honor to present awards like this to our community heroes, like you. Collingwood is a special place, in part because of the exceptional people who give so generously of themselves, and you, Mark, are no exception. You and I arrived in Collingwood about the same time, and since the day I first met you, I've known you to give passionately and selflessly to this community, which you love so much. It's always amazed me how you ever found time to work at a job that actually pays you and raise a family too. Although the community usually only sees the successes and the kudos, I, perhaps more than most, know that it's sometimes tough and painful to dream the big dreams and rail against the status quo. And so, I, along with this council and the entire community, want to thank you today.
Thank you, Mayor Saunderson and members of the selection committee for bestowing this great honor to the volunteers here today, including myself. Receiving an award like this really is humbling because any achievements are always thanks to multitudes of people who volunteer together to make things happen. I'm merely the face of some of those projects, but they've been accomplished through the energy of many people. I'm in particular filled with gratitude to my husband, who's had to cook many dinners and hold down the fort while I answer emails, go to meetings, stuff envelopes, and so on. You know, Winston Churchill said, "You make a living by what you get, but you make a life by what you give." And it's so true in that my volunteer activities over the last 47 years have given my life such fullness through amazing friendships that have been made, the opportunities I've had to learn from other people, and the great joy of seeing a plan when it comes together. In being a volunteer, I've always felt we get so much more than we give, and it's a privilege to volunteer in this community. One of the true blessings of living in Collingwood is the possibility to make a difference. One idea from one person can lead to big things. People here have such great energy, knowledge, wisdom, passion, and caring attitudes that makes plans come together and it makes change possible. Simply put, I'm very grateful to have had the opportunity to volunteer in this community and humbly thank you for this award.
1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm lying here, just staring at the ceilings high, and I'm thinking about, whoa, what to think about. Just listening and re-listening, smiley smile, and I'm wondering if this is some kind of creative job, because lying in bed, just like Brian Wilson did. Right now I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. Whoa.
Good afternoon. It's my great privilege and pleasure to introduce the 2020 recipients of the Companion of the Order of Collingwood, the highest civic honor in our community, to Carolyn and Sylvia Wilson. These two sisters are native daughters who have truly made a powerful and permanent mark on Collingwood and the region. They have enriched our community, and in the words of their nominator, they have truly walked commitment to bettering people and their community. They received their Orders of Collingwood jointly in 1987, and over the last 33 years have continued and in fact increased their incredible work as educators, curators, faith leaders, and community leaders. As the curators and owners of the Sheffield Park Black History Museum, Carolyn and Sylvia work tirelessly to preserve, promote, and educate our community and our visitors about the rich Black history and culture in Collingwood and the region. As faith leaders, they are powerful and tireless forces behind the Heritage Community Church of Collingwood, where they have organized programs such as free lunches and meals for those in need. As educators, they founded a drop-in center offering literacy and adult learning classes for individuals facing obstacles, be they social, economic, or cultural. They have both been recognized as one of the 100 accomplished Black Canadian women, Carolyn in 2016 and Sylvia in 2020. These two are powerful beacons in our community. They are shining lights that show how commitment, courage, and strength can come in these two unassuming women and truly change the world and their community. Ladies and gentlemen, Carolyn and Sylvia Wilson.
Good afternoon, Mayor Saunderson, members of council, Collingwood citizens. Thank you, Mayor Saunderson, for your generous introduction. We are very happy to receive this award, and we also extend our sincere appreciation to those who nominated us.
When we were first nominated back in 1987 for the Order of Collingwood, we were so surprised that it was such a wonderful tribute to our family. But now, after 30 years, to be recognized again for continuing what we did back then, it just reassures us that we've become the kind of persons that our parents and our grandparents wished us to be. And for that reassurance and for the tributes that you've given to us, we are so indebted and grateful. Thank you so much.
And Happy New Year.
1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, I'll tell you something I think you'll understand. When I feel that something, I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand.
That concludes the 2021 Mayor's New Year's Levee, and I want to thank you for taking time to join us today. I also want to thank the participants in today's event, our town crier, Ken Templeman, a recipient of the Order of Collingwood, our musical entertainers, the Strange Potatoes, Reverend Donna Wilson, Indigenous traditional healer James Carpenter, and our new poet laureate, Claudia Ferrero, for kindly taking time to share their messages and talents with us today and for making this levee a memorable one. I also want to give a big shout out of thanks to our hardworking staff for putting this virtual levee together. Tyler Cleary, Sarah Almas, Claire Rees, and Jenny Haynes all spent countless hours putting this together for us today, and I want to thank them for their incredible efforts. Take care, everyone. I hope to see you on the streets and all over town, and all the best for 2021.
I've got a smile on my face and I've got four walls around me.